Welcome to Co-Work Radio on KZSB 1290 AM. I'm Jane Walker-Wood, and I'm here with Kristen Bohm, who is sitting in for Catherine Raymock, who will be here later in the show. How are you doing, Kristen?
Great, thank you.
Well, thank you for helping us out today, and thank you to our sponsors, Impact Hub, Santa Barbara, and Montecito Bank and Trust. We have a couple of fantastic guests today. Jacques Habra is here. Jacques has co-founded or founded 8 successful startups in 20 years.
Also, lawyer, law professor, and real estate broker John Thyne is also here. John is the co-founder of Goodwin & Thyne.
We'll get to our guests in a minute, but first some local news and some business news. In Santa Barbara County, Office of Emergency is passing out storm readiness pamphlets in Montecito and Carpinteria. If you want to get yours, go to www.readysbc.org.
The Santa Barbara City Fire Department is holding a Texas Hold'em benefit poker tournament where proceeds will go to victims of the Montecito mudslide on Sunday, March 11th at 12 p.m. at the Carriage Museum.
Another really fun event this Saturday, February 24th, the Upper Village in Montecito is going to do some boutique shopping with complimentary food, tastings, live music, kids' activities, and that's all to support mudslide relief. That's from 2 to 6 p.m., and most of the shops will be offering discounts.
Like the city of Santa Barbara, the country of Chile also experienced massive fires last year, leaving 1.4 million acres of charred landscape. An enterprising young lady has found a way to bring life back to the mountainsides. She's outfitted her 3 dogs with special saddlebags filled with the seeds of natural plants. As the dogs play in the mountains, the seeds slowly trickle out with the goal of reviving the forest. And I think this could be a great technique to replicate here in Santa Barbara.
I'm looking at Kristen, wondering if she's making this up. That's fantastic. I'd love to get her on the show. That's very enterprising. Anyway, Yardi Matrix, which is also, I think, a Santa Barbara-based company, they have a new report out on co-working, stating that its growing impact is small, but it's a growing segment of the office market that helps companies accommodate remote employees, attract talent, promote work satisfaction, and reduce leasing costs. Now, Miami, interestingly enough, has the most co-working space as a percentage of total stock at 2.7%.
Very interesting. The 2018 Spirit of Entrepreneurship Awards nominations are open until March 5th. Women entrepreneurs will be celebrated for their success in 11 different categories, including green and social entrepreneurs, science and technology, and professional services. So if you know anyone who deserves recognition, please nominate them on the Spirit of Entrepreneurship website.
The United Way of Santa Barbara has distributed $500,000 to support Thomas Fire and Flood. They've selected 16 county agencies to receive the funding, and this is just phase 1 of the program.
Wow. The National Association of Women Business Owners in Santa Barbara are hosting their 2018 Bravo Awards on March 15th from 12 to 2 p.m. luncheon. These awards applaud Santa Barbara women in business who have shown outstanding work in entrepreneurship, leadership, and innovation. So women who were nominated by NAWBO SB members as well as members of the Santa Barbara community are welcome to attend. Get tickets to the luncheon on their website.
Is that the same group that's given the 12 outstanding entrepreneurs, inducted them into the $1 Million Club, Women's Economic Ventures?
They're different organizations. Both are fantastic and do a lot of great work here in Santa Barbara.
Okay. Now, 1805.org has raised $1.8 million for first responders and disaster victims, and they're having a very big party this weekend to celebrate the first responders called Kick-Ash Bash. There might be some tickets available if you go to 1805.org. Other news, Amazon has launched over-the-counter health care products called Basic Care, so they're just taking on everyone. After the break, we'll have UCSB professor and prolific business author John Greathouse here to answer your social media questions. You are listening to Co-Work Radio on KZSB 1290 AM. Please follow us on social media. Thank you to our sponsors, Impact Hub, Montecito Bank and Trust. We will be right back.
The Central Coast may seem laid back, but when it's time to work, no one works harder, including the bank that's grown up here. Montecito Bank and Trust offers customized lending and banking for all businesses, big and small. It's harder than offering one-size-fits-all solutions, but it's the right thing to do. And here, getting things right is a way of life. Montecito Bank and Trust. Behind every great community is a great bank. Montecito.bank. Member FDIC.
Do you have a special event coming up? Go to Zoto's for all your party needs. At Zoto's, they offer packages for birthday parties, corporate and team building events, accompanied, of course, with a light show, DJ, delicious food, bowling, and full bar. Call 967-0128, where the staff will help you plan and execute an exciting event, all within your budget. Go to Zotos.com to book your party now, because when you're having an event, it's got to be Zoto's. Hi, it's Catherine Raymock. Are you buying or selling a home? See Compass Realtor Terry Ryken. I went to Terry because of his reputation and experience, but was quickly taken by his genuine enthusiasm. It's that combination that truly sets him apart. Terry specializes in properties in Montecito, Hope Ranch, Santa Barbara, and Santa Ynez Valley, and has 39 years of experience as an agent and broker. There are so many realtors to choose from, but only one Terry Ryken. Find out for yourself. Google search Terry Ryken.
Hi, I'm Dan Farrick, Managing Director of the Impact Hub Santa Barbara. Come visit us and find out why co-working spaces are booming. Our 2 locations in the Funk Zone and downtown Santa Barbara offer private offices, permanent desks, and a variety of co-working memberships starting as low as $60 a month. Mention Co-work Radio when you book our tour, and we'll give you 10% off your first 6 months of membership. Join a community where you can live and work smart. Go to ImpactHubSB.com or call 284-0078 to find out more.
Well, welcome back to Co-work Radio. I'm Catherine Raymock along with Jane Walker-Wood, and we are here, as we are every week, one of our favorite parts of the show with UCSB professor, prolific business author, John Greathouse. By the way, you can email askjohn@coworkradio.com with your business questions. Go to coworkradio.com and make sure that you are listening each week because it could be your question. John, how you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm good. We've got an interesting question from Sam, who read your article on johngreathouse.com about poker legend Annie Duke's new book, Thinking in Bets. And he says, how do I know if I'm being duped?
Duped. I like that. Gosh, maybe I'm being duped and I don't even know it. It's interesting. Annie is a very interesting character in the sense that she started poker really more as a way to make money. And not that she didn't have a love for poker, but she didn't come to this as, maybe a lot of people do. She was a behavioral psychologist, getting her master's degree. Her brother had been pretty successful already, a fairly high-profile poker player. And he just said, you're smart, you should be able to do this. So she started just at a local casino and ended up becoming a world champion.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart people who lose a lot of money playing poker.
Exactly. But she's so smart that she's gone on and taken that learning and brought it back into layman's territory. So she has a book coming out early March. I'm going to have her at UCSB, and this is open to anyone on on March 6th. At UCSB at Embarcadero Hall, and anyone's welcome. It starts at 5:30. Hopefully, we'll have plenty of room. So I would highly recommend her book, Thinking in Bets, and it's out soon. And I would highly recommend coming. So let me talk a little bit about getting duped. Really, her book is about making smarter decisions. I have an early copy that I'm reading, and I'll write a review about it, and obviously I'll use it when I interview Annie. So I'm fortunate to be able to already kind of get an insight into the book. She's talking about making smarter decisions when you don't have all the facts, and that's exactly what you're doing in poker. When you're sitting at the table, you never have all the facts because there's some cards that are turned down. You don't know what those cards are. But if you're decent at the game, you have a pretty good idea what the percentages are. So one thing she talks about that I think is just brilliant, everyone, if they only get one thing out of the book, it's don't let outcome or hindsight bias drive your future decisions. So what that means is just because the result ended a certain way doesn't mean you made a bad decision. She opens the book with a wonderful example. It's Pete Carroll and the 2015 Super Bowl. There's 26 seconds left. They're on the 1-yard line. It's only second down, so they still have three plays to run. And he calls a pass. It was intercepted. They lost the game. And categorically, every sports writer in America said that was the worst decision he ever could have made. And yet Annie breaks it down and she says, no, it was actually a very good decision. And she says the number of times a pass is intercepted in that scenario was very low. Even if it had been incomplete, he would have had 2 other plays to run it in. And so if that play had worked, if they would have scored on that, everyone would have said that was brilliant. Oh my, nobody saw it coming. How did he do that? What a brilliant coach. So don't let the quality of your decision be impacted by the outcome. Here's her message. You can only control the quality of your decision. You can't control outcomes.
Reading your article is that she interviews candidates
right.
for corporations, and she asks them questions that they're not expecting in order to set them off guard, and then reports back to the employers. And that's what I was referring to as, you're being duped.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So sorry about that. I'm so hyped.
I don't
I'm
like
hyped
that
on her
shirt
book.
you have on today there,
I'm hyped
John.
by her book.
That would be an example. You're not expecting
sidetracked.
somebody to say that, and then it makes them all uncomfortable.
I think what she's trying to do there, and I don't want to speak too much for her, but I did hear her speak on the topic, and I did write the Forbes article. What I got out of that was she's very good at reading human behavior. I mean, obviously, that's a big part of poker. Although she does say that tells are way overblown. Like, the average person thinks that tells are the most important part of poker. She's like, come on, professionals don't really have tells. But people have patterns.
They do in James Bond movies.
They do in all the movies. But people do have patterns of behavior. And so what she's trying to do in interviewing these super high-level executives where it really matters whether you hire the right person or not, she's just trying to get them out of their comfort zone, because when somebody who's that senior is interviewing, they're very good. I mean, they're pretty much not.
So they come in with the spiel. So what would be an example of something she might say
she
to
would
me
say,
to get me out of my comfort zone when I arrive?
She would sit down and say, "Why are you late?" And the person's
even
not
though
late.
even though you're on time.
The person's not late. They know they're not late.
Wow.
And so you just really want to see. Yeah. It's not.
She wants to see if they start panicking.
Or do they get defensive? I'm not late. What are you talking about?
I was thinking about the analogy between the poker game. I came from a huge poker family, so I learned to play when I was in grade school. But the poker game, and then also business, because what it sounds at first, I thought maybe there'd be no mathematical part of this, but obviously she's maybe not counting cards, but she's at least taking that into factor.
For sure.
But then she's got the psychological part of it too. Both of those are really equally important in business, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, they are, and I think she has quite a flourishing career speaking to companies and helping them. She's not going to come in and give them the answers, but she'll help them with their decision-making process. Because I think a lot of times we do get caught up in maybe what happened before or the outcome that came out before, and we need to divorce ourselves from that. You might have still made the right decision. It just didn't work out.
Do some people get so stuck with their new business that something failed and they think they made the wrong decision that they just can't go forward and try anything else?
Including the person that's talking to you right now.
Oh.
So what I say is we're all victims of our success. If something really worked well for you, you tend to want to replicate that scenario again. And I'm speaking as an investor. And we're also victims of our failure. So I did a medical robotics company, loved it, had a great run, we had a very successful outcome. But I would never do another medical company again because it was an arduous process. It was just getting the FDA clearance. Is that the right attitude for me to have? Maybe not, but it's just I'm human, and I'm sort of subject to the events that have unfolded before me.
I've had a lot of partners over the years, and in various dealings that you've had, multiple sometimes. Is it important to, because I was thinking about Annie and how she sort of has those both sides of the brain that many people don't, is it important to pick partners that aren't like you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I wrote an article that's did quite well over the years called, it's about the tribe, and I talk about some of the basic elements of a good startup team, and that's really the takeaway is you want people that have complementary skills. I think as young people, students often struggle with that because they don't even know their own strengths and weaknesses. They're just not self-aware enough or honest enough with themselves, and I think that's the first step. Be self-aware, know what you're really good at, know what you're not good at, and then proactively seek people that fit in those the areas where you're, and you have to be secure enough to say, I'm not Jane, I'm not very good at this, and you are. Let's work together.
Well, think of Steve Jobs and the Woz.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't be more different.
There's classic examples throughout history. Very few sole proprietor entrepreneurs make it on their own. It's almost always a collaboration of like-minded people that have different skills.
Remind us again when Annie's going to be speaking and where.
Yep. March 6th, she'll be at Embarcadero Hall. It starts at 5:30. It's open to the public. We only have about 250 seats. We have had instances of people, it's sort of standing room only, but I'd love to see everybody there.
Co-work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
John.
We'll be back right after this.
What's that?
This
The newest online business banking around.
Can you initiate wires and approve transfers?
Yes.
Pay bills?
Check.
Cash management?
Of course.
All business, all online, all on your phone.
You bet. My computer, too. It's Montecito Bank and Trust's new business online banking. It works as hard as I do.
Huh. Montecito Bank.